and welcome to our podcast. I'm Dani, and today Great.com talks with Anna Madsen, who works as a staff research assistant, and with Pam Ozinkowski, a science advisor, both of them working at NAVS, the National Anti-Vivisection Society. Now, if you haven't heard of it yet, NAVS is dedicated to ending the exploitation of animals used in science. Before we begin, remember to press subscribe on this podcast or on YouTube if you're there to have constant updates about our episodes. Now, hello Anna, hello Pam, welcome to Great.com Talks.
Hello, good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, it's such a pleasure to have you here. I was mentioning to you before that we have talked about animal welfare before, but I have never made an interview with this perspective, and I feel it's something really important for us to talk. So, really, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, let's begin with a very important question, which is how did NAVS begin? How did that idea become an organization?
I
Yeah,
know.
so yeah, the kind of anti-vivisection movement has been around for a while. It started around the early 1800s in England. It came up with a lot of similar social movements like the women's rights movements and the children's rights movements. So it kind of started over there in England and then moved over to the States and started spreading there. NAVS itself was founded in 1929. Because the movement needed a base to kind of go out from the Midwest, and we've been growing ever since then.
Well, that's really incredible, and it's nice to see that it's a broader movement, right? It's not
Hmm.
just one location. And on that point, I think I'm gonna direct my question now. It's gonna make our lives easier. I think Pam, let's talk about this mission and some of the issues that you see on the context. Because I personally, when I first thought about it, I gotta say that my first and only thought maybe was about animal cruelty. But I believe there's more behind it. So tell us more about this.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, so NOWS really works to promote greater compassion and respect for animals, and we do this through both, not both, but ethics, science, and the law. So we've got a three-pronged approach. And one of the main things we like to do is really just increase public awareness about animal experimentation. I think a lot of people don't realize that it's still taking place at the levels that it is today and might not even realize that dogs and cats are research subjects in invasive experiments. And one of the things we want to really do is really promote positive solutions to advance humane and human relevant science. We would like researchers to use more human relevant models and not animal models and try to extrapolate data across species, because a lot of times when we do that, we really don't know what we're working with. And so what we try to do is support the development of alternative methods, so these non-animal methodologies that can be used in place of traditional animal models. And we hope that by doing all of these things, we can really make important changes to help end the unnecessary suffering of animals in science and education.
Well, that's truly amazing, and I've got to say also that it's interesting because many times in this podcast I get faced with different cultures. I would say, because here in Brazil sometimes we don't get the chance to interact with animals so much when, like in high school or during science experiments, unless you're into that specific area, or when someone raises awareness about animal testing for cosmetic products most of the times. So it's really broader than I would think at first, and it's an incredible opportunity for us to learn more about it. Now let's move a little bit to your daily activities specifically. I'm gonna start with you, Anna, just to
Hmm.
kick the ball here. Tell us more about what you have been doing, the projects that you're involved, because I believe this is something, it's just a part of what NAVS is doing right now.
Yeah, so NAVS has a ton of projects that we run. We have a bunch of publications that we release. We have our animal action publication, which we distributed 50,000 copies of that last year. And that kind of keeps our supporters up to date on what we've been doing, what sort of stuff we have going on. We also provide our Advocacy Center, which is kind of an online terminal which helps connect our supporters to their representatives, and it keeps everybody abreast of what sort of policies are being put on the table, and it gives people an easy way to contact the representatives. All you have to do is put in your name, your contact information, and we have pre-written letters that you can send out to your representatives to support things like the Humane Cosmetics Act of 2021 or the Chimp Sanctuary Act. So all sorts of good stuff there. Last year, we had almost 20,000 people who sent messages out to their elected officials. So that was pretty exciting. We also run an Arts for Animal program, which is where we ask people to submit artwork that they've created, which shows compassion for animals, and we select winners for that every year. So we get tons of cool art that supports kind of that humane vision of humans and animals connecting, which is super awesome. We also have ASAP, our Animal Sanctuary Assistance Program. And through that, we're able to help fund sanctuaries, which take in animals which have been retired from research situations. But we also extend that to a lot of different animal sanctuaries. So there's kind of a lot of different animals that get helped through that program, which is super cool. And then finally, I'm going to talk about Bioleep, which is kind of the program that's nearest and dearest to my heart. So that's our humane education initiative, supporting the leap to more humane science. And so we have a ton of cool stuff that we offer through that program. We offer our humane products catalog, which is basically designed to help teachers connect with non-animal dissection options. We have over 100 different products that we have listed there, and you can search them based on the type of specimen that you're looking for, or based on the grade level that you're trying to teach. And it's basically just an easy way for teachers to connect to options, so they don't have to go out there and do all the research themselves. We've brought everything to them. And then, of course, in surveying teachers, we found that one of the main issues that they have with switching to non-animal dissections is they're worried about the cost. So in light of that, we have decided to start running a classroom grant for teachers, which offers payments of up to $1,000 to help offset the cost of buying those humane dissection alternatives. So that's super cool. That's in its pilot year. We've had 8 recipients so far for its very first run. So we're very excited to see where those projects are going to go and where the grant's going to go in the future. And then finally, we have a 3 R's curriculum that we're working on. So in case you don't know, the 3 R's of animal research are replacement, reduction, and refinement, which basically means that we're aiming to replace the use of animals in research, or if it can't be replaced, then we're aiming to reduce the animals used in research. And if that can't be done, we're aiming to refine the methodology, which basically means making the process of animal research more humane. So we're trying to create a curriculum that we can extend to high school teachers and their students to help kind of give them that information that maybe, you know, animal testing, one, isn't necessary. And if it is, that there's ways that you can make it more humane process. So that's very exciting. We currently have 8 modules that we have in progress. So we're looking forward to running those out and getting those started this year. And then I'm going to turn it over to Pam to talk about some of the projects that she's personally involved in.
Thanks, Anna. Yeah, so in addition to what Anna mentioned, there's a few other things that I've been helping NAVS with, and one of them is helping to give money to some graduate students that are working to develop alternatives to using animals in research. And so NAVS has an affiliate organization called IFR, or the International Foundation for Ethical Research. And each year we give money to graduate students that are developing these either computer or cell-based models to help advance science in those areas. And over the course of time, NAVS has given over $1.7 million in funds to people that are actually developing the alternatives that we talk about. So we just completed our grant cycle for this current year, and next month we'll be announcing the names of our current recipients. So we're really excited about who we've selected. And then as a science advisor for NAVS, I've been really lucky to be able to conduct some independent research for the organization. We have done some research with biology educators to learn more about how they were using those dissection alternatives Anna just mentioned, especially during that COVID-19 pandemic where schools were canceled and people were working from home. So classroom dissection wasn't taking place. How did teachers teach anatomy and physiology? And the reality is they were able to do so without relying on those traditional animal dissection specimens. So we were able to survey them about that. And I've recently put together a paper with another science advisor from NAVS to better understand how dogs are used in research in the United States. Believe it or not, in the US, we don't really maintain any data on the purpose of research animal use. We have ideas of some of the numbers, not even all of the numbers, because we don't count mice and rats and a lot of other animals, but those basic questions of why are we using animals, we can't answer based on the statistics that our government maintains. So really we try to dig deep and do some research to figure out why are we using dogs and to prioritize areas for the development of alternatives. So those are some of the areas that I've been working in for NAVS to help support their efforts.
Well, thank you so much for sharing not just what you're doing, but also those numbers. It's really astonishing. It's actually shocking, the fact that no one is effectively measuring or not measuring at all this, because I think it's sort of a contradiction, right? Because we like to say so much that we like to provide sanctuaries for animals, and oh, we love our pets, we love our dogs, we love our cats, we love our birds, we love our wildlife, but we are forgetting to look at this vital part of society that is constantly abusing animals. So it's really, really incredible that we're not effectively measuring it. But before I ask and we talk more about this, let me just encourage people to get a go on your website, both on the NAVS website, which is NAVS, NAVS.org, where you can get more information about the programs that we have been talking here and more, and some of the resources that you've mentioned before, I think, Anna. They are available there. And also go to the Bioleep website as well, which is Bioleep, LEAP.org, where you can get, again, information, see the products that they have. It's an amazing thing to see. I've got to say, you got to go there to fully understand what we're talking about here. And we're going to get both of these links on the description of this episode and on our website as well. Now, going back to our conversation here, one question that really came as we were both talking is, how is for you both, how is the feeling to be working with this, to actually be part of the solution? Because I think that when you get the chance to work with something so meaningful, it must have an impact on what you're seeing in your daily life and just being part of the solution. Pam, beginning with you, because you're yeah, go for it.
I appreciate it. When I was a student growing up in elementary school, high school, I was always an animal lover. I was concerned because I wanted to go into research in the field of biology, and I knew there was a heavy reliance on animal models. And I was nervous at that time because I knew that was not something that I wanted to participate in. And so I was able to talk to some of my teachers at that time, and they started making me aware of working with cell-based models. And it was really amazing that while I did do research, I was able to continue to do that without relying on animal models. And I remember a paper I wrote when I was a senior in high school about how chimps are used in research. And my plea at the end of the paper was for them to not be tested on anymore. And it was the most amazing thing when I started working at NAVS. Shortly after, there was a big movement to end the use of chimpanzees for invasive biomedical research. And in the US, we've stopped it. And I mean, that was a pipe dream in 1997 when I wrote that paper. And it was really cool to see that progress has been made and some of these changes are actually taking place. So it is really special to me to work for an organization that supports my own beliefs about this. I really do believe that there are better ways that we can conduct science that is more human relevant. And I really want to help encourage and inspire people to look for solutions, even if they don't exist now, but to develop those alternatives to help us reduce reliance on animals, because I think it'll be better for people and animals. And it's just really cool that there is an organization that really supports that I'm able to work with.
That's lovely. And what about you, Anna?
Yeah, so I think for me, kind of the biggest impact that it's had on me has been connecting with a lot of the people who are kind of working towards kind of removing the animal use from the field of science. So whether that be teachers that I'm connecting with who want to stop using dissection in their classrooms, or I had the opportunity we have an award that we give away to high school students at the International Science and Engineering Fair. So I got the chance to speak to a lot of really smart high schoolers who are creating this amazing science, which uses cell-based models or plant-based models and all this super cool stuff. So it's really amazing to see all these people who are like actively working to create kind of this like more humane, better version of science. So it's been really cool to be involved in.
Wonderful. And Anna, you both mentioned the grants before, right? I think one important question we need to ask here today is if anyone is listening to us right now and would like to get one of those grants, what is the best way to get in touch with you and to apply?
Yeah, so we're actually just about to open our cycle for the second year back up for the Bioleep classroom grant. So that'll open up in October. And that will allow high school teachers, actually teachers of any grade level, to apply for grants of up to $1,000 to help offset the cost of switching to humane dissections. So they'll be able to apply for that. If you go to our Bioleep site, we'll post the grant application there in October.
Perfect. And talking about this, what is your visions for the future? What do you think it would be a nice place to be in maybe 5 or 10 years from now on? I don't know which one of you would prefer to answer that question.
I'll jump in there. I would envision a world where we are relying way more heavily on these cell-based and computer-based models instead of the traditional animal model. I want the scientific community to feel more comfortable with these models. I want them to continue to be developed and become more complex and representative of human biology. That would be my dream, is where people trust and are using these other models and not relying on animals. I think it would be amazing to cut back significantly in my dream world to zero the animals we're using for these invasive studies. So we're making progress, we're making strides. Some governmental agencies here in the US are making some commitments to cutting back, and I'm optimistic that in time we will get there. So I believe that future is out there.
I believe it too. And then comes to another important question, that is, how can people help you keep going with this brilliant effort? What is the best way to keep you going?
Yeah, so there's a couple different options. I mentioned earlier we have an Advocacy Center that we have at NAVS, where you can basically go, and we have everything all lined up where it talks about all the different policies that are currently being pushed through Congress and the Senate. So you can then write to your representatives through that Advocacy Center. So that's a big one. You can also try and buy humane products. So there is a certification called the Leaping Bunny certification, but you can look it up. There's a cute little bunny symbol. So you can look for that on all the products that you buy. And basically that is a process that allows you to make sure that you're buying products that are not tested on animals. So that's a great one. If you're a teacher, or if you know a teacher, you can apply for our Bioleep classroom grant, or make your own switch to humane dissection alternatives. Yeah, so I think those are kind of the big three ones.
That is great, and thank you both so much. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Pam, for joining us today. This was a great and so mind-blowing talk. I really liked it. And well, feel free to join us in the future for other talks. I would love to talk more about this initiative with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And for everybody listening also, thank you for staying here with us one more time. And remember, if you enjoyed the episode, press subscribe on YouTube or in your podcast app, because that shows the algorithms that this is an important conversation and we can raise awareness about the importance of the NAVS, the National Anti-Vivisection Society.